What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to the Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you be happy, healthy, wealthy, and get better every single day. Today, we're going to focus really on that wealthy side of things because the gentleman I'm going to bring on, he helps people with financial literacy, with credit, really understanding how to leverage money. So yes, wealth, we are talking financially a lot today, but he also gets into the wealth of relationships and what that looks like. Herman Dolce is a multi-business mogul with over 10 years of experience in the credit industry. He's the CEO of Bellis Sloan Enterprises and author of Startup, Inside Secrets on Building Your Business Credit. His growing success has allowed him to work with well over 600 plus small businesses in credit, trucking, and more. As a mentor, Herman, aka the Haitian CEO, teaches his mentees the importance of financial freedom no matter their background. His mission is deeply rooted in Herman's own entrepreneurial spirit and desire to help people reach their fullest potential in business and life. Well, Herman, I'm so glad to have you on the show. And I got to tell you, man, what you're talking about, especially when it comes to this financial literacy and credit, I mean, this is a big subject, man, and something that we don't have a ton of. So I'm excited to talk about it. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for trusting me and having me on your platform. I'm absolutely honored.
It's truly my pleasure. I guess I'll start right in. Why credit? Is this a personal thing where you're like, man, I got in a bind, or you saw people? Because I've seen this can absolutely destroy not only businesses or dreams that way, but mentally, brother, it can absolutely take people out at the knees. Why is it such a passion for you?
It became a passion for me back when I was a social worker 10 years ago, when friends and family around me had bad credit. And I realized the lack of credit, having bad credit, and the lack of financial literacy was actually really expensive. So short story. I remember I got my car towed. Literally, I walked in the store, walked back out, it was gone. It took 30 seconds for them to take it. Got in an Uber, went down to the tow lot, and you had to pay cash. Like, it was like, here, the ATM machine, or you could put it on a credit card. So, I had a high limit credit cards, who cares? Swiped it and I was out of there. But while they were getting my car, I was watching people who didn't have, because when they tow your car, you got to pay the tickets and everything, the back stuff, right? I saw people who didn't have credit. I saw people who didn't have $1,000, $1,500 available to them at that moment, and they were going to keep their car. So that lack of financial literacy, that lack of having, I didn't have savings, they didn't have savings, the lack of not having the credit card, literally being poor was costing them more, because now, bro, they couldn't get their car to go to work. And then when I started seeing little things like that, it became more of a passion for me to teach financial literacy, because it wasn't taught in school. It's not taught anywhere. Hopefully your parents pass you down that information, and it's just become an amazing passion for me.
Yeah, it's a good question. Did my parents? Yes, and not really. And I mean that not like they didn't do a poor job, but true financial literacy. I mean, I come from the financial service world, which I'll tell you, I don't know anything about. I say that, but I am probably 99.9% ahead of most people out there, even with the little that I have.
Right.
And it is one of those things. I as you're talking, I can think of this gentleman named Tim, where I remember, brother, he was so stuck because US Bank at the time, he owed them, I think it was like $700. And it was costing him like $27 every single day, these charges. He's like, he saw no way out
of it.
And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, that $1,000 is not really a big deal to me per se, but to him, it was an absolute lifeline. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that other than to say, I love what you're doing. I think what you're doing is so important. I wish that our education system would adopt some of these ideas so that people out there do have this financial literacy. But thank God you and Bellis Sloan, this academy that you've created, that's one of my questions down the line. But I'm so glad that you're doing that. It is so necessary.
And I think you touch on something really important about why it's not in schools. I have my own conspiracy theory behind it, where I don't think it's in the system's interest to make us financially literate because they make money off of our ignorance. If I wasn't taught how to balance a checkbook with my father when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, right, then the banks wouldn't make money off of me bouncing checks at $35 a pop, and that's in its own self $1 billion interest industry, multi-billion dollars, because people don't know how to balance checkbooks or understand what's coming in versus what's going on. When I was younger, my father, and God rest in peace, my dad literally died like 60 days ago. He taught me, hey, this is how much I made this week. And he would show me his checks when he came home on Friday. And he was like, let's pay the bills. So he would have me write a check out to the water bill, the gas company, my tuition, and I would write it out in my sloppy little handwriting, but he would sign it. And he'd be like, well, how much money do I have left? To me, it was just simple math, right? But to him, he was teaching me financial literacy. So then when I asked him for the Nintendo or the Game Boy, so I'm aging myself right now, I would know the answer to the question already because I know how much was left in the bank account. Little things like that.
No, well, and I'm sorry. You said 60 days. My
60
goodness,
days ago, yeah, just passed
brother,
away.
I'm sorry. It's
Thank
a
you. I
major
appreciate it.
loss, and I didn't lose my dad all that long ago, and I empathize with your pain.
Mhm.
You know, it's interesting. I noticed in your bio it mentions the Haitian CEO.
Yeah.
Was your dad originally from Haiti?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, both
And
my parents were from Haiti, so I'm first generation.
yeah, and I want to talk about this because what's interesting, the way your dad taught you, which is good to balance that. However, I would even challenge that to say that's similar to me, right? We were
Mhm.
taught to pay bills first.
Mhm.
I've really learned to pay myself first,
First.
of course. The bills will come later. And by the way, the discretionary income comes last, if at
Right.
all.
Mhm.
And yet, many people, it's in polar, total opposite of that. It's probably paying bills, then discretionary, then they may or may not ever get to paying themselves. And I
Right.
agree with you, man. These institutions aren't looking for us to thrive because
Right.
how do you monetize off that? But
Mhm.
if you were to teach people basics right now, so
Mhm.
your dad taught you that, which is awesome.
Right.
But if you were really to say, all right, guys, let's start with some basic financial literacy, how to get your credit built up, how to really put yourself forward. What does that look like? What's your framework look like?
So I'll even back it up just a little bit. During the pandemic, right? Temple University reached out to me. They was like, hey, could you speak to our students? What made that so great is that I'm an alumni of Temple University. So I was actually honored that they called me and paid me to do it. So I was just shocked. I would have done it for free. Um, and I had a bunch of freshmen on the call. And I told them, hey, would you like to be worth $250,000 in 4 years? And of course, their minds were blown, right? It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm just trying to get this paper done. I'm just here for the elective, bro. Right. So I was telling them how credit was going to get them there in 4 years. I didn't even really go that deep into paying yourself first, saving, investing, and the bills will always be there. I didn't even go down that rabbit hole. I told them, hey, you're 18 years old now. Let's start relationships with different banks because banks like to give money to people who have relationships with them. So I was like, go open up an account with Bank of America and Chase, right? Also, start your LLC. Just create a business, name it whatever you want to name it. We'll circle back on the revenue of that at a different time. Now that they have their relationship with these banks, that work study money you're getting, that pizza money you're getting, that Domino's delivery money you're getting, start putting it into these bank accounts and starting the relationship with them, right? So that was part one. Part two of it was when you're 19, you're going to apply for your first credit card. Now, since you have a relationship with the bank, right, you've been putting money in it. And I also tell them, hey, if you want to get on your parents' credit card, they put you as an authorized user. That's great. But now you have a 700 credit score because you never had anything negative on it. Guess what? You're going to get your first little credit card, whether it's 1,000, 2,000, or 3,000. Then I was teaching them how to use that credit card responsibly. Hey, pay your car insurance, your pizza, your cell phone bill, pay the credit card with using it, and then every month use your cash to pay it off. Now you're starting healthy budgeting habits. The third step I taught them, I was like, because I was doing freshman, sophomore, junior. I was like, your junior year, right? You're over 18. Let's go into purchasing your first home, right? And I told them about a program named NACA, NACA. NACA is a great program to help people get into their homes with little to no money down and the interest rates are a lot cheaper. And now you're able to get into a property, a multifamily duplex to a quad, right? Using FHA also. And you can live in one unit and your college roommates can rent the rest out from you, right? And I was like, by the time you're a senior, right? And I told them to do this under their business name because you got your LLC now. I was like, by the time you're a senior, you can get a business credit card, liquidate the credit card, 0% interest, and you can do that process again. By the time you graduate when you're 22, you can have up to 8 doors worth over $250,000 on the low end, living rent free. Now I brainwashed these kids into processing something. Hey, I'm making 3,000-4,000 a month. I live free. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I can go get a job, but I think I'm going to keep doing this over and over again. And that's a little 4-year blueprint I gave them.
No, I love it. I'm guessing when you were at Temple, you didn't get this advice, right?
Absolutely not.
And that's not a judgment on Temple. That's across the board. So we're clear. And
right.
What I think this is what's so fascinating to me, and not in a good way, but we're talking to kids that are in a four-year university, a very good university.
Mm-hmm.
And yet that doesn't mean that you come out and you know something about whether it's balancing your checkbook as your dad taught you, what you taught them to really set them up for creating passive, growth, passive income growth wise, and really starting to create wealth.
Correct.
And that's what's so interesting is that these kids are at a 4-year university. What about kids that didn't even get a chance to do that?
Yeah.
They're not getting this. And so tell me about Bellis Sloan, brother, because maybe this will tie it all back in together to where you're like, okay, this is clearly, I need to get this to the masses.
So trying to wrap up a long story short, so Bellis Sloan Enterprises, I named it after my firstborn daughter, Bellis Sloan. My wife was pregnant with my baby girl, and we took a baby moon to Italy. And amazing trip, 10 days, came back, something happened. I could not take time off to be with my baby girl because I took the entire 2 weeks off, right? So I remember that. And then my brother told me, unless you own your own, you'll never be free. I never forgot that. He's like, that credit thing you do, he's like, you should start charging people for it. Because I used to, just do people credit for free before it became the fad on the internet. And I was like, no, it's really important. People need it. He's like, no, there's a second line he told me, they're going to pay somebody, they might as well pay you. And I never forgot that. So I got 10 of my friends. I was like, hey, I'm going to fix your credit for free. I'm going to post the results to social media. Then that's how Bellis Sloan business started. Then I fell down the rabbit hole of business credit because, I always like to learn my craft. So I'm on YouTube University, and then I stumble on business credit. I studied it. I got a mentor, and then I brought it back to the masses in regards to, hey, I got your credit fixed. Let's get you some business credit to invest into your business. And then I started to realize, bro, that a lot of people didn't have this information. People kept asking me, hey, can you teach? Can you teach? Can you teach? And that was the genesis of Bellis Sloan Academy, where we started teaching people financial literacy, budgeting, investing through other coaches, because I don't know everything, real estate. And then it's grown into an amazing community. We have thousands of people in it. We've created 7 millionaires in the last 5 years of Bellis Sloan Academy. And we have helped facilitate 103 people quit their jobs. So that's my badge of honor.
Yeah, brother. And here's what I hope is coming across. And the reason I brought up your folks being from Haiti, it would not be a wealthy country by and large. In fact, it's one of those countries that it's an interesting country, let's say, especially right now. And my point to that is to say, your dad taught you a great principle, but where did he even learn that from? Right? Was it
right?
And the evolution of everything is what I think is really is cool, because now your brother says, hey, unless you, can you say it one more time?
Unless you own your own, you'll never be free. So I will always be asking somebody for time off. He's like, what are you upset about? You work for somebody. And I never forgot that.
Yeah, no, it's a powerful statement for sure, and leads you to create because of the pain points, right? You go have the baby moon. You guys are having an awesome time. Now I can't be with my baby girl that I'm literally going to name my company after, which I think is awesome. And so I guess the evolution, which is so cool, is it's to say, look, it doesn't matter where you came from, your education, what it was. You need to seek this out. And that's what I
Yeah,
think Bellis Sloan is doing a great
very
job
true.
of. Say, look, man, everyone is facing these challenges. None of us really got the proper literacy or education. We can all do this. And it seems like, I don't know your programs very well, but can you talk a little bit more about what your program looks like in Bella Sloan? And if
Hmm.
people were to jump into it, I'm doing this early in the show because I think it's so awesome.
I
Um,
appreciate that.
yeah, brother. So can you just explain kind of what that looks like if somebody were to say, "Yeah, man, I want business credit. I want to be the senior that's got 8 doors. Like that's what I
Right,
want
right,
to do
right.
4 years from now."
Right, right. So when people find me on social media, a lot of them are just started from zero. They could be 30, 40, 50 years old, never had a credit card in their life. So when they come into Bellis Sloan Academy, number one, we've been in existence for 5 years. So we have a lot of our old courses there. So they get access to those old videos. But the special thing about us is that we meet every single Wednesday night. So every single Wednesday night, 7 to 9 p.m., there are different classes every week, whether it's our credit class, our business funding class, real estate, Toro, life insurance. Every Wednesday night, we put out our syllabus and then we meet up every single Wednesday. And then, ironically, we have a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior portfolio. So when people first come in, they're like, where do I start? You're going to start with the credit 101, business funding 101, like the classes where that's going to set your foundation. Then we have the sophomore classes of insurance and taxes, and then the junior and senior classes for people who are well versed in those things. So they're in another category where they can watch those repertoire videos.
Wow. I don't know if you know how brilliant the business model that you chose is, but I'm salivating a bit because I'm like, yes, this affects everyone.
Everyone.
Um, it really does, man. How many members are currently in Bella Sloan? And
So we
kind of
are at
tell me
30.
what your vision
We're
is.
we are at 3,500 members on a subscription basis. So we set it up like a Netflix type situation. So they meet every single Wednesday. It's $50 per month. Low price points at $600 a year. And then we tell them, listen, if you can't get $600 worth of information here, then maybe this isn't for you. But I promise you, there's $1 million worth of game in here.
Wow, that is awesome. You also mentioned, and I think this is part of what I think the mindset that's so key. You don't know everything. You said, look,
Yeah.
I bring experts on from insurance to taxes to in totally different worlds. How has the reception been for what you're doing? Because we already are not argued, but we said perhaps the institutions don't love what you're doing because
Mhm.
you're giving them the key out, the gateway out.
Outright.
How has the reception been so far? Have you had any pushback or have financial professionals said, hey, man, we want to support you? What does that look like for you?
I think both sides of the spectrum. Number one, from the users of the platform, they are really excited because they've never heard this information before. They've executed on the information and then they have receipts from the information. So in our private Facebook group, you'll see the deletion charge offs collections come off of their credit report. Hey, I saved $1,000 this month, Herman. Thank you so much. Hey, Herman, I started my business and our revenue is 400,000. So we have a great spectrum. Um, High schools and universities have called us and brought us in to talk to their athletes, especially their student athletes who are going to these NIL deals and are about to get six figures and they've never had financial literacy before. Sometimes there's a couple of banks that's hit us up, be like, hey, you're giving out too many secrets. You're telling them the algorithm how to get automatically approved for 10 grand. So they're not exactly thrilled about that. So we do have both spectrum, but as long as we're helping people out to have options in this world, right? I like to consider myself the maker and the freedom giver. As long as I'm giving you options and freedom, the rest is up to you.
I imagine a big part of what you coach on is also just the mindset of everything because there's a lot of emotions tied around money,
Money.
credit, success and or failure
Hmm.
in terms of the scorecard of your bank account says you have or don't have.
Hmm.
How do you guys kind of approach that? Because I think often when I see people, that's what gets people really stuck is I don't see a way out, man. Literally, I'm about to file bankruptcy, and yeah, let's say I do file. Now I can't come back. That's not true. In
It's not
fact, I've
true.
watched really great people that they chose to, whether they choose to file or they choose not to, dig their way out. But I think it starts upstairs. Am I fair in that estimation? What do you think about that?
Jay, it's so important that you say that. No matter what course mentorship you take, you sit down with anybody that is considered successful, they say the same thing in the beginning. It's all about mindset, right? So, and it's always something so cheesy, and I know people get irritated by it. Like, oh, you see somebody driving a Bentley. Oh, how'd you do it? Oh, I changed my mindset. And you just roll your eyes at it. No, what did you buy? What did you sell? No, it starts here first. Like, I have to brainwash you to believe that, oh, if you do get a bankruptcy, you can get out of it. You have to change your mindset about everything that you've been taught. I need to rewire it. So it starts with your brain. And now when I convince you of that, it is easier for you to take action. So like a salesperson, I learned from a sales call. What if I told you that um, if after your 20th no of you trying to sell this book, you're going to sell it for $1 million? Wouldn't you hurry up and call as many people as you can really, really fast to hurry up and fail, hurry up and get through the no's, because you're going to learn a lot during those no's and those failures. So that when you make that first sale, ooh, I got it now. And it's repetition after that. I need to do those mental reps in people's head to have them remove what they were taught before, to show them these things are possible. I'm not your competition. I am proof that this can be done.
Yeah, that seems to be something that you stand on is here's the proof. There's no armchair quarterback in here. It's like,
Right.
look, you even said here's the receipts. Like,
Yeah.
here's what we're showing. This isn't some facade. This is real world. Took credit score from whatever it was,
Mhm.
low 400s to the 700s. Talk about some of those things because I think credit in itself, people, again, maybe I'm hitting on this point too much, but I don't know if we can. Financial literacy, we hear about credit cards, you hear about credit, but we're never really taught unless you go to Bellis Sloan Academy or
Mhm.
unless you put yourself in that bind. You really don't get a chance to understand what it is. So let's just
Mhm.
talk about building up credit.
Mhm.
Let's talk about let's deal with my son's an 18-year-old in college. You already talked about them, but if you're saying, hey, getting a credit card is probably not a bad idea, yes or no,
Mhm.
and let's make sure we pay that sucker off so we don't
Yeah.
get in that loop. What
Yeah.
are some of those basics that you're like, gosh, if everybody knew these three fundamentals,
Right.
life would be so much better for you.
Understanding money and credit will make it ubiquitous for this conversation, that they're both a tool, right? So that I can leverage for my time to build wealth, spend time with my family. So once I change your mind on that, then we're having a different conversation, because we were taught consumerism, right? Even from a young age, they're selling our children something. I want, I want, I want. So you grow up with this mindset so that, oh, when I don't have enough money, oh, I can just put it on a credit card. The wealthy understand that credit was created and should be used to make more money, not to buy things. For example, when I was teaching these college students, hey, no, you're going to use your credit because you've built it up over time. Now the banks trust you. You're going to use your credit to buy an asset that's going to pay you. Now you're living for free. Now you have rental income coming in that you can then utilize to buy the things that you would have otherwise put on a credit card because you couldn't afford it at the time. So changing people's mind on how credit is used to make money, that one thing goes so much farther, because then they learn so many different things about money and how to utilize it, and then they just want to continue to repeat that. So like in our academy, really teach people, hey, we're going to use credit as a down payment to your business, and then use a SBA loan, which is money government gives you to purchase a business that is making 100, 200,000 a year net profit, and you already have a manager and CEO in there running it. Or no shade to colleges or university, or you can give Temple $100,000 to become a teacher or whatever, and then you can make 40, 50 bucks, 40, $50,000 a year once you get out. So I'm showing them the power of that same 100,000 of putting a down payment on a business, or or going to school. Two different things, two different outcomes.
Was that the idea of your book? Which congratulations, by the way, because anybody that finishes a book, I always say, man, to see it from start to finish, that means you care.
Right,
Uh,
right, right.
Startup
Yeah.
inside secrets on building your business credit.
Hmm.
I can't say that I read a lot of these books. My
Mm-hmm.
As you're talking, I'm thinking Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm like, I read that years ago. It's sitting on my 15-year-old's, like bookshelf right now because I want him to dive into it. But
Mm-hmm.
talk to me about when you decided to write that book. Are you, because everything you seem to do is simplify and you
Mm-hmm.
make it extremely practical. Is that kind of what people would expect if they grab the book?
1000%. My job is to teach credit, something that is so boring, and people feel that it's such a big thing that they ignore it. My job is to, I hate to use the word dumb it down, but make it accessible to let you know that, oh no, there's something very tangible. So again, when I first started learning about business credit and I started talking to people about it, it's like, well, I don't have a business, or that's not relevant to me. I'm like, no, it doesn't matter if you have a business or not, or running business or not putting debt on your personal name, but putting into your business name is incredible. And I tell people, get credit when you don't need it. So when you do need it, it's available. I have a hammer in my garage right now. I don't use it every day. I don't remember the last time I used it, but the moment I needed it, I had it because, like we said earlier, money and credit are tools. So when you need it, you have access to it.
Yeah, it's a good way to look at that for sure because again, you're not using it all the time. This
Mhm.
conversation comes up, I don't know, business credit or a couple times a year maybe. Really,
Maybe,
it's
right?
it's not that often,
Yeah,
but when you need it, oh man, it's pretty important.
it's pretty
Uh,
important.
What is your thought on uh, bankruptcy? It's a word that's scary to a lot of
Mhm.
folks, and I understand that. And yet, there's really, really intelligent people that they've literally filed because maybe it was the right business decision. Forget the ethics for a moment. Forget that
Right.
judgment one way or the other. What are your thoughts on that? If somebody's sitting in a dire situation right now, and I know you're not giving the exact advice, but you've
Hmm.
seen enough people be in this position to say, is this the right decision for me or do I battle it out? What are your thoughts on that?
Two things about it. The first is, um, if you absolutely really need to do it, and you've talked to a professional, an attorney, a lawyer, your family, or friends, and you're really, really underwater, and this is what you need to do, then do it. The other side of it, which I lean more on, is I think since the tool is out there, people overuse it. Because I've had people book a consultation with me, or they're in the academy and we're talking, and they're like, "Hey, I'm $40,000 in credit card debt, and I only make $4,000 a month. I'm filing for bankruptcy." I was like, "Well, that's dumb." And they're like, "Why?" I was like, "Well, let it go to charge off. Like the banks will put it on the insurance. They'll get paid. You don't go into bankruptcy because bankruptcies are a lot more difficult to remove from your credit report. You can go into negotiations with those banks in advance of bankruptcy to help with that situation." Instead of the bankruptcy being put on there. I even go into a tax conversation with them where we were taught, hey, let's let's have the government take extra money out my paycheck every month so that in January and February, right, I'm rich, right? I get a five, six, $7,000 check. And then for the next 90 days, my whole internet time feed is everybody's on vacation and having a great time. Not understanding that you just gave the government a $7,000 0% interest loan for the last 12 months, right? Or you can tell the government, hey, I am not, because our parents taught us this. I'm not going to take all those exemptions. I don't owe you any money. You don't owe any money. Now, guess what? Now you have an extra $500-$600 that's coming to you every single month that you can use to pay down your credit card debt so that you can negotiate with those credit card companies instead of going into bankruptcy. Now that your credit card debt is paid off, now you have an extra $500, $600, $700 that you can start to invest in that you can pay yourself first. So teaching them strategies instead of running to bankruptcy has caused a lot of people to start thinking about using that tool inappropriately.
Hmm. I love that. And one of the things I continue to hear you say, even teaching the Temple kids, you're taking this money. It's not just sitting. The
Yeah.
credit as leverage. I want to really hammer this point home because I think often investing is a scary idea.
Very scary.
It's it's one of those things that you feel like people either know it or they don't. And I'm
No.
speaking again. I'm from the financial service world, and oftentimes I'm sitting in those rooms going, "Well, these guys all know what the hell they're talking about. I have no idea, but I
Yeah.
know I should invest." So obviously, real estate sounds like something that you've utilized and you taught. what
Hmm.
other things should we be looking at with that extra 500-600 bucks? Is it going into the stock market? Is it doing
Hmm.
Bitcoin and crypto? And I'm just curious what you've seen, what you feel a portfolio should look like, balanced, or what are your thoughts on it?
So before I get into that, I want to talk about levels first. You get an extra 5, 6, 700 a month or 1,000 a month. The first thing you should be doing is paying off your credit card debt, because there's nothing really that's going to give you a better ROI than paying off debt, especially credit card debt. Then we can talk about savings. Hey, I want to get 2, 3 months of saving. You guys know the drill, right? Once that's done, right, then your mind is clearer to start to do other things. Now, Jay, you were saying, hey, what do we invest in? I'm going to give you a cheesy answer first. Yourself, your mind. It's important to learn a new skill because the ROI on that is infinite, right? So when I learned about credit, when I learned about business credit from different mentors of mine, it literally has made me millions and continue to do so. So where I started a business, I started an academy, and I showed people how to do it also. So it's infinite. So in your minds first, get a mentor, start some new courses, learn a new skill that someone can't take away from you. Now, what I've invested in, I've definitely invested in real estate, and real estate is a long-term situation. I know HGTV makes it look like you're going to make $100,000 every 30 days, every 60 days. Real estate is a tax play. It's a wealth play. It's a long-term play. Definitely crypto. Everyone's scared of it because they don't understand it. So definitely study crypto. A good friend of mine, Steve Bayon, he's my crypto mentor, and he literally sets up my crypto wallet. He's like, I treat it like my 401k. I put 400 or 500 bucks in every single month, and the ROI long term has been absolutely incredible. I also teach about my new passion is buying businesses,
Mm.
and it's not that difficult to buy businesses. Definitely get a mentor, Richard Pillerman. That's my mentor in buying businesses, and once he taught me how simple it is just by doing a little research. Oh, here's a laundromat. The baby boomers are passing away, Jay. So the government has put into place SBA loans so that we can go purchase these businesses, because if these businesses die out, the economy takes a tank. So they want new, fresh blood to come in. Buy that laundromat that's coin operated, right? It's on sale for $500,000. All I got to do is put down payment of 10%. That's 50,000. Herman, where am I gonna get 50,000? Business credit, right? I'm gonna get the business credit, go to the bank, be like, hey, give me the rest of the 90%. They give that to me. Now I'm gonna upgrade the business. I'm gonna put it on social media. I'm gonna change the coin operated machines to cards, go cashless, right? I'm going to install someone to do a wash and fold, get a company car to deliver the laundry, because we didn't have that service before. Just upgrade the business. Now, instead of it doing 500,000 a year, it's doing 1.5, 1.2. And then we teach them even more. Do you know, now that you've increased the revenue business, do you know that you can sell it for double or triple the revenue? And those little things that they're not teaching in college, that's just a simple 3, 4, 5 year plan to make an extra $4 or $5 million off of the $50,000 investment that you did a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you go back and look at that tree. It all started with the 50,000. And I want
Yeah.
to talk about that because really what he's talking about is Bellis Sloan. He's educating, but that is the business that now supports him investing in other
And other
businesses,
things, correct.
creating this generational wealth. But you said something right out of the gate, and it took me back to a kid named Nathan. And when I say a kid, again, college educated, smart guy, made probably about $200,000 a year. And I remember sitting down and looking at, he had 4 credit cards. He had 4 credit cards with debt that he was carrying over month after month at
Mm-hmm.
20%, 25%. And I
Crazy.
remember sitting him down and saying, Nathan, we're going to pick one card at a time. We're going to pay that sucker off. Then we're going to go to the next one. Then we're going to the next one. Again, I'm not a credit expert, but I was shocked that he was just, yeah, I'm paying it and I'm making, he's making more than most people could dream
Yeah.
of making. And
Even
yet
making
he's still in that cycle
in
of
that debt.
never creating wealth.
Mm-hmm.
It is that basic, right? Look at the highest interest ones and get those taken care of first, or do
First.
you look at the this is the first one I can pay off regardless of the interest rate. Just pay that sucker off. What are your thoughts there?
Okay, so I get that question a lot. There's no wrong answer. So pay down the highest interest credit card because it's costing you the most is smart. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, this card is at 27%. The others are at 20%. Let me start killing that off. So when we find that extra $500 a month from changing our taxes or Ubering, whatever you want to do, pay off the high interest rate credit card first. The reverse of that is, well, the credit card with the lowest balance is only $1,000. Let me kill that one. Let me get rid of that one first, right? Because I believe that money is psychology. So if I pay that credit card off first, there is a 30, 60, 90-day accomplishment that, oh, I did it. I paid this off. And guess what's going to happen? It's going to snowball into, all right, now that I paid off, I was just paying the minimum of $300 a month. Now I have my 500 and this 800 and this 300 make 800. Now I'm going to take this 800 and pay the next second balance, the smallest balance off. Because then I'm reaching goals faster and I want to continue it. So it's no right or wrong answer in that.
I love that. You're right, because you do see something like, oh man, I won. I got rid of this one, and it's like the weight of the world falls off. And now I'm down to 3 of these. And I saw it with Nathan. And here's what I want people to hear. It doesn't take that long. If you can have a bit of discipline, if you can reprioritize, again, I would say pay yourself first, then pay your bills, then, so we're clear, the discretionary income. Do not do it the opposite way. And this is part of the basic, lack of financial literacy. How many businesses do you have now? I'm just curious, Herman, because again, if I'm doing the math, you said 10 years ago I was a social worker.
Right.
Bellis Sloan's been around 5 years. I'm going to brag for him a little bit, guys. He's done a lot in a quick period of time. Not that he wasn't doing it as a social worker. I'm not saying that, but I'm doing the math in my head saying, okay, this accumulation and now creating generational wealth, brother, you've done some work.
Thank you so much. I think the thing I like to tell people is that success, and sorry to the people who can't see this visually, success is not an incline, right? Success can be exponential, because once I learn how to turn 1 into 2 and 2 into 4, I can easily turn 4 into 16 and 16 into 100. That's how it goes. So once I started to understand how to utilize this tool, right? How to hire people, how to manage people, how to get mentorship, then everything exploded. So Bellis Sloan Enterprises is 7 years old. But then after that, I was like, oh, let me teach people. Then Bellis Sloan Academy came into fruition. And then my second daughter, Olivia Monroe, I created Olivia Monroe Enterprises. She's 5 years old. And that is the nonprofit arm, because people have to understand that having a nonprofit 501c3 is also can help with in your wealth building also. So we set up people's nonprofits and 501c3 under that business. I'm also in real estate, of course. And in 2025, our goal is to buy at least 3 businesses next year. So yes, as a CEO, I'm extremely busy, but understanding putting the proper managers into place, accountants, lawyers, I just oversee everything because I have an amazing team around me.
Kind of a silly question, but how many kids do you have now, Herman? Because you're going to have to.
I'm going to need more businesses, more kids to name business after. No, but just 2, my beautiful daughters, Bellis Sloan and Olivia Monroe.
So when do you start teaching them, Herman? What does that look like? Are they already learning, what it looks like to value the dollar? It sounds like such a basic question, but again, I think it does start at home. We'll come back all the way to your dad helping you with that checkbook. Well, that was a life lesson. Then your brother speaks another life lesson to you. And these simple acts are creating major ripples across the pond. So for your daughters, when did you start and what does that look like?
It is never too early to teach your kids about financial literacy. So when we first started teaching them about money, because they would always ask, and they learned that very early to ask. Then we started giving them an allowance. It was, here's $1, here's 50 cents. So when we go out, you can purchase what you need to purchase. So doing that to a 5 and 7 year old, right? they automatically realize, oh, I spent my money already and I don't have it. So by accident, they started saving money because they was like, oh, I want that bigger thing for later, right? That's just that. Sooner or later, I'm going to teach them, pay yourself first. I'm going to teach them, hey, if you invest, it grows faster than if you had a salary. I'm going to teach them those things because going back to my father taught me something basic. He never taught me about investing. He just taught me about balancing the checkbook, the basics. And I have this tagline, it's called Audit Your Circle. My parents were the first people I had to audit out of my circle, my financial circle, because my parents were not millionaires. They didn't know how to teach me to become a millionaire. So I had to get mentors and put people into my circle that could teach me millionaire habits and how to do that. And that's what I'm teaching my kids right now. We're going to talk about the value of a dollar, knowing when you want something versus when you need something. And right now, all they do is wear their merch. So Bella wears her Bellis Sloan Enterprises sweatshirt to school. And so at least they're learning about branding right now. When people ask them, what is that? Oh, that's my company, right? I taught them what an LLC is so they understand an LLC and EIN. But teaching them these things young, it becomes more natural to them, and having money conversations are more natural and not something that's uncomfortable or taboo right now.
Yeah, no, it's I hope parents listening, look, you want to teach them as early as you can,
Yeah.
not only to value the dollar, but not to be afraid of it, and how to
Right.
make it leverage, I think, is the key here.
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, 46 years, I'm still learning every single
Right.
day, man. I am
Yeah.
still learning. You mentioned crypto. I have a love-hate relationship with this thing called crypto.
Yeah.
But as you said, find that mentor. I have a guy. He has absolutely crushed it. And yet I've noticed myself just kind of keeping it arm's length instead of having the growth mindset and saying, let me learn more about
Let me embrace this. Yeah.
That's it. Herman, I mean, brother, we could talk about money and all sorts of things
Money and life all day. I know.
all day.
Absolutely.
What didn't I know enough to ask you that you want to make sure and share with the audience as we start to kind of wrap things up? Anything on your heart or mind that you want to make sure to share with the audience?
Well, I know we talked about the academy and how it's $50 a month and yada yada yada, but I like to tell people I like to be transformational before I'm transactional, right? One of my mentors taught me that. So Bellis Sloan Enterprises on YouTube, it has everything: how to fix your credit, how to get funding, my insurance people, my crypto guy. I put a lot of that information on YouTube. Go check it out. It's free for you to watch. A lot of people walk up to me and be like, hey, because I watch your YouTube. They never paid me $1. I've never paid you anything, but hey, my life has changed. I really appreciate you. So they can definitely check out my YouTube so that they can get transformational information. And if they ever want to join the academy later after that, they can. I tell people that invest in yourself. You're going to pay. You're going to pay with your time, or you're going to pay with your money. So if you don't want to pay for the academy, pay with your time. Sit down, study, go on YouTube University. We would love to be of service.
Absolutely, go check it out. And I'm thinking of Bella, man. She is gonna at whatever age she's set up pretty solidly.
She's gonna be a rock star. Yeah, she's gonna be a rock star. Yeah. If I don't leave her $1, she'll know how to make it on her own.
No doubt about it. Brother, I appreciate you coming on, sharing everything. You mentioned the YouTube, Bellis Sloan. Anywhere else that people should connect with you?
Absolutely. They can reach me at Haitian, that's HAITIAN _CEO, Haitian _CEO on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. And again, they can check us out at bellasloanllc.com to check out all of our services. We would love to help. Jay, I'm honored and I'm humbled, and thank you for trusting me on your platform to talk to your people.
No, truly, it's my pleasure, man. I mean, this is such an important topic. I'm so glad that there's people like you out there that are educating the masses because, look, I believe in abundance. I believe we create that abundance, and that is 100% what you're doing, both tangibly and practically. And, you said it several times, mindset. It's such a mindset game.
1,000%.
Guys, go check it out. I mean, look, this is awesome. Everyone can benefit from this, including myself. I'm going to go check out Bellis Sloan even further. I may even enroll in the academy just because I don't know what I don't know, but I know that this guy's helping a lot of people. So until next time, remember your mindset matters. Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.